You know that feeling when you see a car from the 80s and think, wow, that's vintage? In China, that 80s car, you can buy it brand new today in 2024. This is the Volkswagen Santana. Based on the 1981 German Passat B2, Germany stopped making it in 1988, but China? Still producing new Santanas, 43 years and counting. Walking to a VW dealership in China right now, you can buy a new car with design DNA from 1981. Over 5 million Santanas sold in China. More than Germany ever sold of the original Passat B2. And here's what's wild. Early 80s Santanas, the original 1983 to 1990 models, are becoming collectible in China. Hagerty China added them to their emerging classic car market watch list in 2023. Chinese automotive enthusiasts are preserving first-generation Santanas as cultural artifacts. Not just cars. History. In the next 12 minutes, how a 1981 German sedan became China's automotive foundation. Why production never stopped when it should have ended decades ago. And how the collectible automobile market in China is recognizing early Santanas as symbols of economic transformation. If you think you understand how long car platforms can survive, this story will change that. Let's go. Here's what you're learning. First, why China chose the Passat B2 in 1983 as their people's car. Second, how this 1981 design sold 5 million units in China, while Germany moved through 4 more Passat generations. Third, why vintage Santanas are becoming investment pieces for Chinese collectors. Based on Shanghai Volkswagen production data, Hagerty China market analysis, and interviews with Chinese automotive historians who call this the most successful foreign platform in Chinese history. And you'll see how this connects to 9 other cars worldwide that refuse to die. But first, 1978, China opens. 1980s, the Santana launches in China, and it becomes instantly iconic. Why Chinese people loved it? Space. The Santana was huge compared to what Chinese were used to. Comfortable backseat. Chinese culture values rear passenger space elders. Important guests ride in back. The Santana delivered. Trunk space. Chinese families could fit everything. Luggage, goods, groceries. Solid German engineering. It felt substantial. Doors closed with a satisfying thunk. Status symbol. Owning a Santana meant you made IT, middle class, success. 1980s and 90s. The Santana becomes China's taxi king. Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen. Every major city. Fleets of Santanas. Tens of thousands. Hundreds of thousands. If you took a taxi in China in the 90s, it was probably a Santana. Government vehicles, police departments, state companies, all buying Santanas. The Santana became the face of modernizing China, opening economy, growing middle class. The car that taught hundreds of millions of Chinese to drive. But here's where it gets interesting. While this is happening in China, Germany moves on. 1988. Germany discontinues the Passat B2, launches the Passat B3, more modern, more aerodynamic, updated everything. Then the B4 in 1993. The B5 in 1996, the B6 in 2005, the B7 in 2010. Germany goes through generation after generation of Passat, China, still making the 1981 B2 as the Santana. Same basic platform, same body structure, same design philosophy. 2000, 21st century. Germany is on the Passat B5, completely redesigned, modern. China is still making the 1983 Santana, barely changed. Now they did update it. Fuel injection replaces carburetors. Safety features added. Interior modernized, but the core? The platform, the basic design, unchanged, and it kept selling. Millions of units. Why change what works? Chinese mechanics knew every bolt. Parts were everywhere and cheap. Taxi fleets standardized on Santana. Why switch? Training costs. Parts networks. Familiarity. The Santana became embedded in Chinese automotive DNA. 1978. Deng Xiaoping becomes China's leader. His policy, reform and opening up. China will modernize, embrace foreign investment. Before 1978, China had almost nitrogen monoxide private cars, bicycles, buses, state vehicles only. But Deng's vision, Chinese families will own cars. China will build automotive industry. Problem, China doesn't have modern car technology. Engineering decades behind West. Solution, joint ventures. Partner with foreign automakers. Learn from them. In 1978, Volkswagen becomes first foreign automaker to enter China. The deal, Volkswagen provides technology, designs, expertise. China provides factory, labor, market access, 50-50 partnership. Shanghai Volkswagen is born, but which car to build? Volkswagen had to choose. The Golf? Too small for Chinese tastes. Chinese buyers wanted space, rear seat room. The Jetta? Not spacious enough. The Passat? Perfect. 1981. In Germany, Volkswagen launches the Passat B2, second generation Passat. Larger than the first. Four-door sedan. Spacious trunk. Roomy back seat. Middle-class German family car? Solid, reliable, nothing fancy. Volkswagen China looks at this and says, that's the one. The Passat B2 will be China's first modern mass-produced sedan. In 1983, production begins in Shanghai. But they don't call it Passat in China. They give it a new name, Santana, named after the Santa Ana wines in California. Smooth, flowing, modern. The Volkswagen Santana. China's gateway to automotive modernity. 2012. Shanghai Volkswagen does something insane. They launch an all new Santana, not a facelift. A completely new car, modern platform. But they keep the Santana name. Why? Brand equity. In China, Santana doesn't mean AVW model, it means sedan. It means reliable car. Entire generation of Chinese grew up calling a NY sedan a Santana, like Americans saying Kleenex for tissue. Santana became generic for sedan, 2024. You can still buy a new Santana in China. It's modern now. Safety features, touchscreens, modern engine. But it carries that 1983 legacy. That name, that heritage. Meanwhile, the original Santanas, the 1983 to 2000 models, are still on Chinese roads. Taxes that refuse to die. Family cars passed down generations. Cars with 300,000 kilometers. 400,000, still running. Because that German engineering from 1981, it was BUILT the last. And Chinese mechanics kept them alive decades beyond their design lifespan. Total Santana production in China, over 5 million units. The original Passat B2 in Germany, about 2.5 million total. China sold TWICE as many as Germany, of Germany's own design. The Santana became more successful in China than the Passat ever was in Germany. A German car, that became a Chinese icon. So here's where it gets interesting for collectors. 2023, Hagerty China, the classic car valuation authority expanding into Asian markets, publishes a report. Emerging Chinese classic car market, vehicles to watch. Guess what's on the list? The 1983 to 1990 Volkswagen Santana. Their reasoning, cultural significance. First modern mass-produced sedan in China. Symbol of economic opening, generational nostalgia, and increasing scarcity. Original 80s Santanas are disappearing. Chinese automotive enthusiast clubs started forming. Santana preservation societies. Owners of original 1983 to 1990 models maintaining them as historical artifacts, not just old cars, pieces of Chinese economic transformation. Classic car shows in Beijing, Shanghai, vintage Santanas appearing. Restored to original condition, factory paint. Original interiors, numbers matching engines and transmissions. And here's what surprised the collectible automobile market. Prices starting to climb. Early 80s Santana in excellent original condition. 10 years ago, worth maybe $2,000 to $3,000. Today? Pristine examples. $8,000, $12,000 USD in Chinese market. Still affordable compared to Western classics. But appreciating why collectors want them, nostalgia. Chinese buyers in their 40s and 50s remember parents' Santana, learning to drive in a Santana, taxi rides, wedding cars, emotional connection, restoration market developing, shops specializing in 80s Santana preservation, sourcing original parts, some from old inventory, some fabricated. Concours-level restorations appearing at Chinese automotive heritage events. Investment-grade examples. Original unrestored Santanas with documented history. First year 1983 models. Low mileage garage-kept examples. Taxi Santanas with complete service records showing 400,000 plus km survivors. Chinese classic car insurance emerging. Agreed value policies for vintage Santanas. Not widespread yet like Hagerty in US or UK, but growing. Auction houses in China Guardian, Poly auctions starting to feature automotive lots. Vintage Santanas selling alongside art and antiques. The collectible car market in China is young, but Santana is leading it. And here's the global angle. Chinese collectors diaspora. Chinese immigrants in US, Canada, Australia, Europe. Seeking Santanas for nostalgia. Importing vintage Chinese market Santanas to Western countries. Reverse of usual flow. Not Western classics to China. Chinese classics to the West. Automotive historians calling early Santana China's Model T, the car that motorized a nation. Put hundreds of millions behind the wheel. Historical significance beyond just being an old car. So when people ask, why collect a 1980s Chinese Santana? Answer, it's not about German Passat B2 platform. It's about China's transformation. The car that represents opening economy, rising middle class, Chinese dream realized. That's not just collectible, that's cultural heritage. And heritage ... always has value. Here's what makes this story different from Mexico Beetle or India Ambassador. Those cars ended. Production stopped. The Santana? Still going. You can walk into a Shanghai Volkswagen dealership today and buy a new Santana. It's modern now. 2024 safety. 2024 technology. 43 years from 1983 to 2024. The 1981 Passat B2 platform ended in Germany in 1988, 6 years. "5 million units sold. A car every Chinese person over 30 recognizes instantly, the taxi that carried them. The family car, the wedding car, the driver's test car. Walk Chinese streets today. You'll still see original 80s Santanas. Not many, but survivors, driven daily, refusing to die. Because Chinese owners don't give up on Santanas. Too much history, too reliable. Why buy a new car when Santana still runs? Practical Chinese thinking, the original 1983 Santanas? 41 years old now, still on roads, still working, still serving. German engineering from 1981, validated by Chinese endurance. And the name continues, modern Santanas carrying that legacy forward. Germany gave China the design in 1983. China's automotive foundation. Built on 1981 German engineering, the car that's still here. And that's why China has made the Santana for 43 years. USA stops in 1970. Australia keeps developing it independently, creates legendary V8 performance models. XR6 Turbo, XR8, makes them until 2016. The last rear-wheel drive V8 sedan from a major automaker. Ten cars that survived decades beyond their origin nations. Every one worth thousands to collectors today. Hit play.